story. President Obama here just moments ago.
Leaving the broken system the way it is, that's not a solution. In fact, that's the real amnesty. Pretending that we can deport 11 million people or build a wall without spending tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer money is abetting what is really just factually incorrect.
Charlie Kirk and Capri Cafaro here. Charlie Kirk, I know that you spent a lot of time on college campuses and dealing with very young millennials who are sort of at the heart of this ruling. President Obama talked about the DREAM Act. He also talked about this being trying to encourage young people to come out of the shadows, if you will. What do you think about the ruling? What do you think about his tone? And what do you think about the notion that somehow, at some point, we should address this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be addressed, but look, the courts ruled based on the law, and President Obama violated the law, and the courts ruled, I think, rather decisively. Now, President Obama comes out and says, well, it wasn't a 5-4 majority decision, but look, there's a precedent in our constitutional law that says if it's a split vote, it goes back down to the appellate court ruling, and they ruled rather decisively on it. And look, they said that President Obama violated the law, and if he has such a clear and convincing case, then he should be able to convince the American people through Congress to pass what he calls comprehensive immigration reform. And to your point about what do young people feel about this, whether or not, young people think that there should be some sort of amnesty, I think that's the word that he says is really scaring people. The law is the law. And President Obama now has been put back 3, 4, 5, 10 steps on this because the Supreme Court now in tying 4-4 goes back down the appellate court decision and has been put in his place.
All right, and we should also point out that the missing vote there certainly would have voted against President Obama in this case. So it would have been 5-4.
Without a doubt.
It would have been a resounding defeat rather than just the kind of rebuke that we saw today. But Capri, President Obama is seizing the political aspect on this, following Nancy Pelosi saying, hey, this is a reason we've got to win the election. This goes to November. We've got an intransigent Congress, a do-nothing Congress that doesn't care. And of course, he speckled he kind of dropped in there here and there racial overtones about how America looks now versus then. And you get a feeling all of that was aimed at trying to sort of rile up the base for November.
Well, I mean, there's no question that, now that the presidential election on the Democratic side is kind of solidified. Obviously, Hillary Clinton has clinched the nomination. President Obama has made it very clear he's going to inject himself into the presidential election. So certainly some of those comments that he made were politically charged. There's no question that obviously elections matter. Elections matter if people showed up in 2014 and actually voted.
I know elections matter, but I want to Capri, what I'm trying to say more specifically, though, that President Obama is hinting that immigration, America has always been proud of its immigration, and particularly when it was a wider immigration, when it was coming from Europe. To me, it feels like he was hinting that now that it's coming from other places, the very people who are products of immigrants will like to cut off the spigot. Is that what you felt from that press conference?
I mean, I think that he is certainly reflecting a sentiment that I think is out there in the United States, that there is this feeling that the face of immigration has changed, and the new face of immigration is threatening the old way of life in the United States. I mean, back to like making America great again. I mean, it's this kind of theme. But I mean, at the end of the day, the rhetoric to me is not important. What is important is making sure now that we actually do comprehensive immigration reform in Congress. We are at gridlock. It's due to gerrymandering and partisanship, and we need to get smart, and we need to grow up and actually get things done in Washington.
Guys, we don't have any time, but Kirk, I'll give you a quick rebuttal.
Yeah, so I mean, look, let's first follow the law. So the courts now have ruled that him allowing 4 million illegal immigrants to stay unconstitutionally. So let's act on that immediately. And as far as this idea of comprehensive immigration reform, this whole issue would not exist if the Democrats would have gone along with George W. Bush's immigration plan that would have helped build a stronger border, or build a wall, if you want to say it that way. And then this whole idea of these 4 million, 5, 6, 7 million individuals. And then you can actually fix the problem. The Democrats don't want to fix immigration. They want to get new Democratic voters. If they wanted to, they would support building a wall.
All right, guys, we love the passion on both sides, and this will not go away despite this resounding defeat for President Obama. Hey, the S&P now warning that a British exit would mean a swift